Good afternoon. I trust that you are doing very well, and that your day has been great. Just a minute. I just wanted to check something very quickly, just to make sure that my voice is very clear, and so that we can go straight into our conversation today. Today we'll be talking about creating empowering habits, and I will soon get into it. Okay, I'm fine. I think I'm good to go. So, because I'm sure that each one of you that are going to watch this recording, you have somehow come up with, different goals that you want to achieve ultimately this year. And some of you, you are gone beyond just setting goals. You set goals based on your mission, what you truly want to accomplish out of life. But I want to speak about habits because ultimately, what empowers individuals to achieve certain things or certain goals in their lives can also be traced back to the habits. Even those that fail to achieve their goals, it can also be traced to the sort of habits that they are involved in that we're not empowering or enabling or taking them forward to that which they wanted to achieve. But just two things that I want to speak about as we talk about habits is first of all how they are formed and the process, because if you can also understand the process of habit formation and what we get out of the habits that we are involved in, then you are able to understand clearly how you can go about having empowering habits. But one of the ways or one of the definition I think that is simple and straightforward is that habits are thoughts that we repeatedly act on. So you get a thought, you act on that thought. If you repeatedly act on that action then becomes the habit. And what then happens that going forward, we don't think about what we are doing, we do it unconsciously. It's automatically done because it was once a thought that was acted on repeatedly, and then it was installed as a habit. And then going forward, we just act on certain things without actually thinking about them, because now we can call them as habit. But there are about four processes that really leads to the habit formation. Because if you can interject or break the process, you can somehow begin to overcome some of the bad habit. Remember, we are talking about habit because we want to, first of all, look forward and focus more on habits that are more empowering, habits that will enable you to achieve the goals that you have set to achieve, particularly this year. So in the process of habit formation, first of all, you get a cue. After you get a cue, and I'll give an example, you get a craving. Once you get a craving, you get a response. Once you get a response, you act basically on that response, and then what follows is that you get satisfied. For instance, you are at work and you get overwhelmed with a lot of work. And I'll give two examples of two people so that you can see the difference. You get overwhelmed with work and you're so stressed, maybe you received a bad email. So that's a cue that you've gotten right. And then in the process of getting a cue, the mind is looking for ways and means that you can cope, as you are going through that level of stress. Then what follows is a craving. It's a craving either for food, a craving maybe for a chocolate. Once that craving happens, is that you are going to act on that craving. You have responded. That's a response. But once then you eat the chocolate or eat the food, then what happens that you are satisfied. But on the other hand, you have set goals that you want to lose weight and you want to basically live a health lifestyle. So in the process of you've been triggered, but the way you've gone about responding and acting on your trigger is actually undermining the goals that you have set, which is maybe to lose weight or to live a health lifestyle. Put it differently, here's another person. They get overwhelmed, same situation, they get overwhelmed, they get maybe a very bad email from their boss, and instead of them following what I've mentioned before, they pause and then they look for more empowering ways. So instead of a craving to basically eat food or get a chocolate, they go maybe outside and maybe set a prayer. That's instead of a craving for a chocolate, there's a craving for prayer. Then it becomes a response. Then after a prayer or meditation or just some quiet time, the satisfaction is that they will be in a more better, healthier mental disposition than they were before. That's the satisfaction. And if this person has set also the goals, same goal like yours, to lose weight, what will happen is that the person who has responded differently to what has happened to them, they will ultimately achieve the goals they have set, and that's the goals of losing weight or living a healthier lifestyle, because the process they use to respond to what happens to them is more empowering than the process that the first person uses, which is when they get upset, get overwhelmed, then they go about, eating food, they are satisfied, and then they get back to either responding to some situation that are stressing. So you always have to make sure that whenever you find yourself in a particular situation, that your response, that the response that follows is also empowering and is one that is enabling you to achieve, remember, the goals that you have set for yourself. So for instance, you get satisfied that you have eaten a chocolate. The question you should be asking yourself is that, okay, now that I'm in this place, I've eaten a chocolate or I've eaten food that I wasn't supposed to eat, but because I was upset, then I did this. Is to ask yourself, you are satisfied now, but are you sure that you being satisfied now is actually empowering you and enabling you to achieve your long-term goals? That's how you think about it. Because if that is not the case, then it means that you need to change the way that you manage when you are triggered, the way you manage your craving, and the way you manage your response, which ultimately gives you a particular satisfaction. You need to manage that process. Then you're going to actually get to a place where your response to certain things that happens to you, you are more in control, and your response is one that is empowering, that ultimately supports what you're trying to achieve. I like what Samuel Smiles actually put it differently in a quote, and this is what he said. He said, "Sow a thought, and you will reap an act." He's talking about the habit formation. Sow an act, then you will reap a habit. So it's a thought. After you saw that thought, it becomes an action or an act. Once you act, then that becomes a habit. What follows thereafter is that once the habit has been repeatedly acted on, then it becomes your character. Once that character prolongs, what follows therefore is your destiny. So if you want to change certain things in your life, you want to change the person you have become now, you want to change your life to be better than it is, or maybe you are dealing with your spending financially, that you get the money but you just misuse and just don't know where the money goes. What needs to change there is that the thought process happens. Once you act on your thought, it becomes an action. That action, when you act on it, it becomes a habit. Once the habit is installed, cemented, it becomes a character. Once that character is established, it gives you the destiny, which is the life that you have right now, which is the results that you are getting right now. So if you want to change all of this, you want to change the person you have become today and the person you have become right now, I'm sure you have set certain goals, the things that you want to achieve in a particular area of your life. What you need, first of all, to look at is when a thought comes into your mind, don't always act on your thoughts. Question what you are thinking. And this is why it's important to actually be aware that we just don't think randomly, and then when whatever we think about, we act on them. You think about something, you question your thought process, and you ask yourself, what I'm thinking, if I act on, is it empowering? Is it taking me forward? Is it enabling me and empowering me to actually achieve the goals that I want to achieve? If what you are thinking and what you're about to act on is not moving you forward and empowering you to become the person that you want to become, what you need to do, therefore, is to pause
and do not act on those thoughts, because once you keep on acting on those thoughts, what is going to happen is that you're going to establish a habit. And if that habit is not empowering, is not enabling you and moving you forward to the goals that you have set, chances are that this year is going to pass and nothing is going to change. Why? Because you think about something, you act about what you have thought, and once you act repeatedly, it becomes a habit. And once it is established as a habit, you automatically, unconsciously act in a certain way without control, because it's no longer it's now a habit. But the challenge is that not all habits that are established in our lives actually supports our dreams, supports our vision or our mission. So this year, I'm sure there are things that you want to do. My encouragement to you this afternoon is, perhaps what you need to do is look back and look around your life. What is it that you automatically do that undermines the very thing that you want to achieve? And if you don't trace and bring about more empowering habits to replace those bad habits, chances are that you are not actually going to achieve what you have set your heart to achieve this particular year. And if maybe some of you are looking for one of the ways, and some of the things that I'm talking about are things that are in my coaching program. And if this year you're one of a kind that is interested in making sure that you achieve certain goals, but you have realized that you have habits that basically undermines what you are trying to achieve, and you just need somebody to help you, to support you, so that you can break the cycle and allow yourself to have more empowering habits, you can just inbox me and email me, and just let's connect, and I can be your coach just to help you make this year a better year. Always remember, and I want to remind you and leave you with the quote that I read from the beginning, that once you saw a thought, you act on that thought will become the action. Once you act on that, once that action is established repeatedly, it becomes a habit. Once that habit when that habit begins to exist, it becomes part of your character. Once the character is established, it becomes part of your destiny. But it's within your hand to change all this, so that you can be intentional about your life and reap the kind of a life, the kind of a destiny that you want to have. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'm wishing you all the best for 2022 and the years to come. May you have a successful life, and enjoy the rest of the day. And I will see you probably again tomorrow, same time, 12 p.m. as I continue just to talk. Maybe I'll continue to talk about habits, but this is it for today, and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.